Alright my friends, we finally have the spoilers for One Piece chapter 1168, and Oda just dropped one of the coldest chapters of the entire Elbaf flashback. Shanks, Harald, the Holy Knights, and the moment that pushes us directly into the long-awaited throne room incident. Buckle up, this chapter is crazy. Sadly, next week is break week, the traditional December pause. But listen, we got 34 chapters this year. Oda fed us well, so let's enjoy this absolute monster of a chapter. The chapter begins exactly where 1167 ended, a snowy tragedy falling over Elbaf. Ida, Harald's first love, is dead, poisoned, gone on a quiet winter day. Hyoden mourns, Harald mourns, and Loki, still chained up for destroying the village in his rage, can do nothing but watch through tears. It's brutal. It sets the entire emotional tone of this chapter. Some spoilers even say Ida thanks Harald before she dies, telling him he made Elbaf peaceful again. Whether Oda confirms that Thursday, we'll see. But now, everything jumps forward, 14 years before present day. And this is where Shanks enters the stage. This is the part that shocked me. Shanks was chosen by the world government to ascend, just like his brother Shamrock, and become a holy knight. But to become one, you must sign the deep sea contract with Emu. We heard Jura explain it before. Only after this contract can you see the truth. And now it's Shanks' turn. Except he doesn't show up. He skips the ceremony. He refuses the ascension. He disappears right before Emu can place the second sigil on him. So the government does the unthinkable. They give Harald the contract instead. Harald becomes a Knight of God, officially. Exactly what they promised him last chapter. If you succeed, Elbaf will be recognized as an official member of the world government. But here's the terrifying part. Harald instantly gains the same abilities we see in the present-day Holy Knights. Invulnerability, enhanced strength, teleportation through massive summoning circles. And yes, Emu personally instructs him to draw a teleportation sigil in Elbath. That explains why Shamrock and Gunko could appear instantly in modern-day Elbath. The teleport circle Harald created never disappeared. That also strongly implies that Emu is the one who marks Holy Knights with the sigils, just like you said, which introduces a massive question. Is the number 13 meaningless? If Emu can add more chosen warriors whenever they want, maybe the 13 we all speculated about was never a rule. Maybe it's just a superstition. Maybe anyone who signs with Emu becomes one of the Deep Sea 12, 13, or 14, a growing cult rather than a fixed roster. And that brings us to the scary part. After receiving the contract, Harald changes. Instantly. He starts acting like a completely different person. Darker, colder, almost possessed. Look at Gunko's behavior in the present. Corrupted, then briefly return to normal before Emu sees their mind again. So it's very possible. The deep sea contract warps your personality. It bends your will. It replaces your judgment with Emu's commands, which explains everything that happens next. Emu orders Harald to 1. Create a teleportation sigil in Elbaf. 2. Train and mobilize a giant army for the world government. This is the exact opposite of everything Harald ever stood for, and he knows it. Which brings us directly into... The chapter ends with the hype narrator saying we are finally approaching that event, the legendary throne room incident. Oda has been teasing since this flashback began half a year ago. Here's what the spoilers say. Loki and Yarul arrive at Aurus Castle. Some spoilers claim Harald himself ordered them to come, and that he even commanded his own soldiers to stab him, because he could no longer control the darkness Emu put inside him. That means Harald might have begged for death. End me before I become something worse. That's how devastating the deep sea contract is. But even then, How did Loki, at this age, overpower Harald? A man who was already one of the strongest characters in the series, now empowered and invulnerable. Unless Harald lowered his guard. Unless he wanted to fall. Unless Emu's influence made him unstable. There are so many question marks, and that's exactly why the narrator is hyping the next chapter so hard. We are right there, seconds before the legendary moment. This explanation fits too perfectly. Shanks knew. If Emu places that second sigil on you, you are trapped forever. Your will is no longer your own. So Shanks ran right before receiving it. He escaped before becoming property of Emu. But maybe he didn't know they'd give the contract to Harald instead, which is why he rushed to Elbaf 14 years ago, to warn him before it was too late. He failed, and now everything spirals into tragedy. Now we reach the biggest mystery, the ancient devil fruit from the giant royal bloodline, one of the 2 fruits Roxty Zebek needed to defeat Emu. This fruit was kept inside the change box in the throne treasury, the same box we've seen next to that giant chained weapon. Was this the Nika fruit? Did its journey begin here? Did it fall into Shanks' hands after this? Maybe, but it doesn't add up, because according to older spoilers, Loki is the one meant to eat it, not Luffy. Which means either Loki ate a different mythical fruit, or the fruit was stolen, or everything about this lineage fruit is set up for a massive twist. And don't forget Volund, Loki's hammer. Some people think it was also stored inside the throne treasury, which raises the question, was the entire giant royal arsenal hidden by the world government? Why? How? By who? There is so much we're about to learn. Chapter 1168 is amazing, emotional, dark, mythical, and it pushes us right to the doorstep of the throne room incident, something we've waited months to see. Thursday's summary is going to be wild. Some lines in the spoiler text are vague, but the direction is so clear. Harald's fall, Shanks' escape, Loki's destiny, the giant devil fruit, and the rise of the Holy Knights all collide next chapter. Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm hearting the hypest theories as always. Tell me what you think the giant fruit is. Tell me how Loki defeats Harald. Tell me why Shanks really ran. I'll see you in the next breakdown. Have a beautiful day, my friends.